what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show.
Oh, hey kids! Welcome to the Big Daddy G Show, and I want to welcome everybody all the way from. I believe there's some people watching us in India. Hello, Sarah in India. Um, Today's show is going to be more of an informative show. Who should watch this show today? You're wondering. Well, if you have kids, you should be watching this show tonight. The show tonight is about sex trafficking. I went to the Houston World Film Festival a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I do remember this one movie that I went to see, and it's called I'm Still Here. And it was such a powerful movie, and it was directed by a really, really nice lady named Mischa Marcus, and she was really, really nice to us, and she gave us an interview, and the interview went really well, and we have a clip that we're going to show you in a few minutes. So if you need to go to the bathroom or you need to take a puff of an organic cigarette, go ahead and do that now, or rip something, if you know what I mean. Anyway, this sex trafficking, a lot of people think, oh, it doesn't concern me, Yeah, it does. If you have kids, it doesn't matter if they're tiny little kids or if they're big kids or if they're adults. There is sex trafficking going on in Texas. Last year alone in Texas, 79,000. All right, let that sink in. 79,000 kids and young adults were abducted and put into sex trafficking rings. Okay, so that means 79,000 kids were taken away. Now, if you have kids, like I do, you don't want any harm to ever come to them. You want to take care of them. You want to watch over them. You want to make sure that they're safe. But there's a lot of times that you just can't be around, and you can't watch them all the time. I asked during the interview, I asked about, where's the number one place that, these kids are disappearing from. There is no particular place. You've seen videos on television about how this guy runs into a convenience store while the lady is buying something. This guy runs into the convenience store, grabs her kid, and takes off out the door. And luckily, a customer that was coming in grabbed the guy and saved the kid. You see this in Walmarts. You see this in Targets. You see this at schools when they're walking home from school, when they're going to school. And people think, oh, it's just at the playgrounds. No, it's not. It's everywhere. You got to watch your kids, okay? Now, here's something really scary. In the last 3 months, in Washington, D.C., close to 400 children in the last 3 months have disappeared from Washington, D.C. in the last 3 months. Dude, what the hell's going on? We depend a lot on our police officers, but there's not enough of them, So you got to watch your kids, all right? Just the other day, 4 days ago, in Waco, there was a guy that got arrested, and he had, from what I understand, 16 women. 16 women in that he was sex trafficking. And where was he sex trafficking them? Waco, Temple, Austin, San Antonio, but mostly in Austin and Waco. Okay. So you're thinking, oh, but this is Austin. Everybody's so nice. They come here and they take them. Okay. So you got to watch your kids, and you're not being nosy. You're not being, overbearing, or, you're not. I want to show you a picture of this guy. Tyrone, can you get that camera? I want to show this picture. I'm always throwing Tyrone curves here, but I want to show this picture of this guy that just got arrested in Waco. And this is the guy that had 16 girls, okay? And some of these girls were underage girls, and he was trafficking them. This was in Waco. So, and again, he was bringing them here to Austin, and what do? They'll use these girls to attract other girls, So, hey, come on over. We're having a party. Oh, it's great. You'll like my boyfriend, da da da, whatever, And then the poor girl goes to a party, and then she's never seen again. There was a girl that we were going to do a film about, a short documentary about, and her name was Roxanne. What was her last name, Tyrone? Paltov. Roxanne Paltov is still missing. And I don't know. We tried to do a little documentary about it. Maybe we can get her parents. Dude, we went all the way to Connecticut to try to do interviews. And we weren't able to because they blocked us. They said that we couldn't do it. So anyway, we tried. Was Roxanne killed? We don't know. Was she sold to sex slavery? We don't know. But we tried to help and they wouldn't let us. So maybe if Roxanne's friends or family are watching this film, watching this show, maybe you can help us, help you find closure about your daughter. So anyway, we don't know. Again, we don't know what happened to Roxanne, but you got to watch your kids, and I don't know. It would be really, really tough for me if one of my boys had ended up missing, and I would never know where they are or ever again. So, a lot of these kids they're made to prostitute themselves. They're put into child labor, and some of them they place them in debt so that they can never ever get out, and they have to work and work and work and work what they call commercial sex practices, which means like we have Formula One here, which they're not involved in sex trafficking. But when you have something like that, like the South by Southwest and Formula One and these huge events, well, that's when these guys come to try to take, because they, imagine like they're like those big schools of fish, that come, and then here come the sharks, and they take your kids. I know that sounds funny. I'm not trying to be funny, but when Formula One and South by Southwest and all these other things come into town, that's when the kids disappear, because nobody's watching them, and put down your damn phone and talk to your kids. If you don't talk to them now, they're not going to listen to you later, So put down your damn phone and turn off the TV. Go for a walk with your kid. Go ride a bicycle with your kid. Go do something that, is going to gain that trust that they need to have in you so that they can talk to you, But if you're always on the phone or always on the computer, and I keep telling people this, they don't want your money. They want your time. They don't want that huge TV. They'd rather have you. They'd rather have time with you. So anyway, all right. So now we're going to play the interview. And this is, I believe it's about 8 minutes or 9 minutes long. And it's really, really cool. And if you'll notice, I'm glad I remembered to tell you this. If you'll notice, sometimes the light gets really bright when we're talking about a certain subject. And we didn't do that. And Tyrone tried to adjust for it, to try to, change the setting on the camera, and we couldn't get it to work. The light was just all of a sudden would get really bright. And watch for that and listen, because obviously somebody above was listening and was shining the light on us to make sure that you guys knew that this was really important and to listen to, okay? And for some reason, you're watching this show tonight. And because you're watching the show, this could be something about your kid. So, Tyrone, can we roll that clip?
Layla, Christian, get over here. I can't keep my eye on both of you running in different places.
Are you okay?
I can't find my dog.
I can help you look for him.
There he is! Where? He's under the car. Can you see him?
I don't see.
Just got a call about a girl who was left for dead. They think she's a victim of child trafficking.
Another one?
This is your new sister, Layla.
Detective Amy Walker. I know you can't talk now, but you will.
Today's a very special day for you. Layla, say hello to Mike.
The more time we lose on this, the colder the trail will be to catch whoever did this to you.
Come with me.
What?
Layla, he'll kill you if you stay.
He took a sweet, innocent, trusting little girl and changed her.
Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. Hi kids, we're still in Houston, Texas, and today we're going to interview a really nice lady named Mischa Marcus. And Mischa is from LA area, and Mischa did a film that made me very uncomfortable. And the reason it made me uncomfortable is because it was very informative, and it's the kind of information you don't want to know exists, but it does exist. And we thought that we should bring it to your attention and see if we could educate you the way she educated me. And it's I don't know, it's a really informative film that you need to know about. It's called I Am Still Here, and here's the page out of the flyer or the pamphlet that we have. So before before you made this film, did you know someone personally that had been abducted, or did you know someone who had someone abducted in their family?
No, actually. I didn't even know that child trafficking was a problem in America until I was in college and studying filmmaking. And they actually busted a brothel about a 10 minutes drive from where I was living and going to school. So that was an eye-opening experience for me. And the media covered it for about 2 days, and then they dropped it because it was old news. And I just couldn't let it go. I had to know what happened to these girls after they were rescued, and I needed to know their stories of how they got to be where they were in the first place.
Okay. Well, there you just covered my second question, which was why this topic? So you just covered that question.
Oh, 2 for 1.
Let me ask you, what is the most common place that kids get abducted from? Would it be a playground? Would it be at school or walking home from school? Would it be, where should we be more careful with our kids?
I would say everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think you can really specify a single location. Kids are abducted in plain sight all the time.
Okay.
A lot of kids are lured offline.
Okay.
So there's just way too many scenarios. Some children are actually groomed by other children and then pulled into it. So there's so many scenarios of how children end up being trafficked that there's no way to really singularly say this is what does it.
Okay. All right. And what is the most, from your research, what is the most common age that children disappear, or is there a common age, like a?
I mean, the youngest that I've seen trafficked was 9,
Wow.
and the oldest was 17, but
Yeah.
the average age of these girls and boys is usually 11 to 13.
Wow. And at what age, or to what age, you said up to 17, but at what age do they decide, well, we can't use them anymore, or we can't make any money off of these kids anymore? What age do they get rid of them?
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Some of them, they don't get rid of them.
Yeah.
They'll just traffic them at massage parlors and the like.
Okay.
But as far as children are more valuable,
Yeah.
so to speak, because of their age. And I think because pedophilia is so rampant all over the world, that it just makes it more of a high pitch for these guys, these traffickers, because they know that they can make more money off of children than they can women.
Okay. So you're saying that they're getting them, earlier you said something about getting them offline, or trying to, they try to find them online. Do they try to find them on Facebook, or do they find them on, I don't know if there's kids websites like Facebook. I know there used to be one called MySpace many years ago, and then all of a sudden that disappeared, and then we have Facebook.
No, well, Facebook, but usually it's you have to actually be really careful on chat apps that are on smartphones these days.
Okay.
There were a few apps, I don't remember the names of them, but kids were able to meet. It was basically Tinder for children, where you could make friends with other kids that were close by, but there was no way to know if the person you were actually talking to was a child.
Right.
And people were arranging to meet up with them.
Okay. Well, see, I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to apps and stuff like that, and that's why I have a crew. But I don't know what Tinder is. What is Tinder?
Tinder is a dating app for adults.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
it basically shows you people that are in your area that are single and looking to meet up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And so they have these. So you got to watch your kids.
Absolutely.
You're not being nosy. You're not being overprotective. Dude, if you lose your child because you're not watching what they're doing, it's a horrible, terrible thing. It's never happened to me, but wow, I just can't imagine if one of my boys would disappear. The other questions, another question I have for you is, you made a film, but you basically, the subject was girls. Does this also happen with boys?
Yes,
Okay.
it's usually about 80% are girls
Okay.
and 20% are boys.
Okay. I did have a friend of mine, I don't actually, this is terrible, but a friend of mine told me that he had worked at a hotel, and that one day there was somebody that was in this one room, and then they wouldn't pay. And they wouldn't pay, and then so they went into the room, and they found 3 kids in the bathtub, hiding in the bathtub. Yeah, and it was, if I remember correctly, it was here in Houston. And according to a friend of ours here, she said that Houston is like a hub for sex trafficking.
I've got
Have you
news
heard
for
that?
you. I've got news for you. Basically, anywhere there's an international airport, there is a child trafficking ring very close by.
Wow. And what should we look for? I mean, as people that are just walking down the street, what should we look for? You can't you can't walk up to a couple or a man who has maybe a kid that's Chinese, but he's not Chinese, or he might have a kid from whatever, some other country.
Right.
I mean, what can we do? What are the tell signs that'll?
I mean, you really have to listen to your gut.
Yeah.
For example, if you see that a child looks uncomfortable in a situation, then listen to your gut and talk to the child. Just say, are you okay? Notice if there's an adult that's watching them nearby that seems to be, lingering a little too closely.
Okay.
And the best thing you could do is not approach the person that you see doing it. For example, you could be putting the child technically in danger by trying to approach them. If the trafficker thinks that they have a chance of getting caught, they will kill the children in order to avoid having, basically any baggage that can lead back to them. So the best thing to do is there's the human trafficking line call them, call your local authorities, let them know, and give them a description of the person, a license plate, any leads they can follow. But the best rule of thumb is if you see something, say something.
Right. And we'll have the line or the number is on the screen right now, and you'll be able to call. And if you have any other questions, is there any websites that people can go to get more information about this?
Oh, absolutely. Basically, you can just Google human trafficking in America, and the numbers and the websites will be right there for you. And you can do your own research. The numbers continue to increase within our country.
And what do you think of the numbers compared to last year? What do you think the numbers are as far as children that have disappeared this year into sex trafficking? Do you have any numbers or any?
Yeah, they said in 2014 it was up to 200,000 American children that were trafficked every single year. Now they're saying at the end of 2016 that number's increased to 300,000 American children.
Wow.
And just in D.C. alone, they were saying 400 children have gone missing in the last 3 months. This is just for 2017. These are recent numbers, and I believe only a few of those children have actually been recovered.
Wow. So people, keep an eye on your kids,
Talk to your kids.
Talk to your kids and make them understand that you're on their side. And that's what a lot of parents don't do. What I did with my kids was, I don't care. I'm here for you. I'm on your side. Whether you're right or wrong, I'm on your side. And my kids would always come to me and tell me, hey, Dad, this, or hey, Dad, that, this is going on, this is going on. And luckily that never happened to my kids, but it could happen to yours. So, take the time out and spend some time with your kids. They want your time more than they want your money. And I don't know how else to explain that. There's one little note, I don't know if we have time or not, but there's one little note I wanted to add, is that there's someone in my family that is involved kind of in this. This particular person in my family is able to travel the world, and just because they can't speak English doesn't mean that they're not children. And you know who I'm talking to. Please stop what you're doing. This is a very, very serious topic. Our show is mostly comedy, but every once in a while we like to educate people on what's going on in the world. And here it is. Wake up and take care of your kids.
Hey kids, as you can see, we gave you a little bit of a trailer to that movie, and the movie's called I Am Still Here. And if you'll notice at the bottom of the screen during the interview, there was a link to how to find that movie. From what I understand, the movie was filmed in L.A. and that's the lady that directed right there, Mischa. So anyway, the one thing I wanted to tell you about, if you'll notice during the trailer, those little girls, the whole thing was filmed in a way. I asked Mischa about this. The little girls were filmed in a way where they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what the movie was about or anything. They were just told, act this way, yell here, scream here, do this, do that. But they never knew, what the subject matter was. And I applaud Mischa. I applaud you for being able to do that and doing it in such a way that they sold it. They really, really did an awesome job without even knowing what the subject matter was. So, very, very, very awesome director. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys was this is a map. We're going to try to zoom in. Here, I'm going to put Tyrone on the line again. Tyrone and CJ. This is a map right here. And if you'll notice, the red is where it's really, really, really heavy as far as sex trafficking. And if you'll notice right here in the middle, that's Austin, Texas. See how red that is? That's Austin, Texas, guys. Okay, so, and if you'll notice, LA, San Francisco, up here, DC, look how red DC is. That's where it's the worst for some reason, it seems like. DC, and if you'll notice up there, you see Michigan, Detroit, down in Florida, you know. Though we need to care, I'm not done, Tyrone. We need to care about the other states also, but I don't know if you can tell, but there's Texas and San Antonio. There's Dallas and Houston. So according to Mischa, anywhere there's an international airport, there is sex trafficking. So folks, you know, you think to yourself, you know, oh, well, you know, I keep a good eye on my kids, you know. But let me read you a little bit about what sex trafficking is. I know we're running out of time, and I'm sorry we can't take any calls. But sex trafficking is a form of modern slavery that exists throughout the United States and globally. Sex traffickers use violence, threats, lies, debt, bondage, and other forms of coercion to compel adults and children to engage in commercial sex acts against their will. Under the U.S. federal laws, any minor, the age of 18 years, induced into commercial sex is a victim of sex trafficking, regardless of whether or not the trafficker used force, fraud, or coercion. Now, the situations that sex trafficking victims face vary dramatically. Many victims become romantically involved with someone who then forces them to manipulate them into prostitution. Others are lured in with false promises of a job, such as modeling or dancing. Some are forced to sell sex by their partners or other family members. Now, if you got to watch Craigslist, because this just came to mind. Every once in a while in the talent section, I'll see something about, oh, you know, we're looking for models and we're looking for this and that. And I'm wondering if maybe they have something to do with that, or if you know, some of them are connected with that. I don't know if they are or not, but you know, keep an eye on your kids. Okay. So some are forced to sell sex by their parents, or other family members. They may be involved in a trafficking situation for a few days or weeks, or may remain in the same trafficking situation for years. Now, victims of sex trafficking can be U.S. citizens, foreign nationals, women, men, children, LGBTQ individuals. Vulnerable populations are frequently targeted by traffickers, including runaway and homeless youth, as well as victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, war, and social discrimination. Now, sex trafficking occurs in a range of venues, including fake massage businesses, via online ads, or escort services, in residential brothels, on the street, or as truck stops, or at hotels or motels. So, folks, keep an eye on your kids. Forget the new car. Spend your time with your kids. You know, I don't know how much I can stress that. They don't want your money. They want your time. So please, keep an eye on your kids. Watch them. And all I got to say is peace out, man. Watch your kids. I don't know how else to put it to you. You know, a lot of you are working 60, 70 hours a week, you know, thinking, oh, I've got to provide for my kid. Oh, I've got to do this. I got to get a bigger house. I got to get a bigger car. No, you don't. You got to take care of those kids. You got to go spend time with them. Like I said, you got to go bicycle riding with them. Go for a walk. Buy some tennis rackets or borrow some from your neighbor. Go play some tennis. Go, you know, play some basketball. Go swimming with them, you know. If you need a place to swim, I'll let you come swim in my pool. Just spend time with your kids, you know. Go to a movie with them. Introduce them to the Beatles. Hell yeah. Introduce them to, you know, some good music. I was watching some, who is it? The guy that does Jeopardy, I can't remember his name, Alex Trebek or something like that, was reading some lyrics from rap songs, I'm sorry. And the words, they're just insane, you know, the words that they were saying. And then I listened to the words from music, you know, from the 50s and 60s and 70s. You know, what happened? What happened? What are we letting our kids listen to? You know? I don't know. Well, that's it. I just wanted to let you guys know that that you need to keep an eye on your kids. You need to keep track of them, because there's people out there wanting to take your kids. Believe it or not, it's true. 79,000 kids disappeared from Austin. 79,000 kids have disappeared from Texas. I'm sorry, from just Texas. 79,000 kids. So let's say 5,000 disappeared from Austin. Dude, that could be one of your kids next year. So just keep an eye on your kids, you know? That's it. Peace out. Viva Mexico. Viva Mexico!
I hope, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. Can we all just get up on the Big Daddy G Show? Yeah, man. Why clean your room when you can do some shrooms? The Big Daddy G Show. I hope, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show.